Hey guys, it's Tom here. Thank you all very much for your love and support. We are feeling a little bit better. We had to get out today to take the roomie to the doctor again. And, I went through my morning prayers and stuff early on. But I decided to stop and make extra prayer. And to be very specific about a couple things, to ask for extra peace and I thanked him for keeping me calm and cool and collected, I guess is the expression. Um, and I never got, I didn't get a mile down the road before the gates of hell opened up. And the next thing I know is Satan had taken the spot in the passenger seat beside me, and whom was intent upon berating me with the most abusive horseshit ever for the next 20 minutes all the way there. So I was real glad that I took the time to pray that extra prayer. And it was amazing because, it's one of those things where insane accusation, stuff, irrationality, crazy, super emotional, blah, 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 blah. And, I was like, all right, then. But I stayed calm and I did respond with, logic, rational thought. And more often than not, it was a word which would say, are you sure you know which reality you're in? And poor baby, she just about wore herself completely out by the time we got there. Because, people don't realize what it is to indulge your anger at a high level. I mean, you're just burning up life like there's no tomorrow at that point. It really is as though you've got your foot on the pedal and you're driving a old 74 Trans Am or something. It's not doing anything. It's not going anywhere, but the back tires are burning right the hell off. Just nothing but clouds of smoke. So I've given thanks for the Lord being with me today, and I'm awful grateful. I'm so very happy of all the white people. So very, very happy of you all for helping so much, and then the good blues. I know that they were talking today about something about my ancestors and stuff, but they all work together, and that is the family. When I'm down on the ground, it's like, okay, well, you're obviously in the city of white, being a White House and such. But then I've been known for a lot of airtime too. And it's because I like being close to my father. But yeah, I saw some real extreme displays today. And I saw that there were some people that were upset about, the fact that other than it being surprising, it didn't really have any effect upon us in any way. I mean, I know I'll grow from it. Quite literally, energetically, spiritually, will grow because of it. I'll be lifted up and I'll be given more because of it. That was a direct attack upon me. And I'm guessing that I would have. I'm guessing people would say you actually did pass that with flying colors too, which is the idea. And the funny now, I'm going to tell you right now, she's not an evil woman or anything, but she might as well, my dad, Mr. Angry, it might as well have been him sitting right there. Now, I know the bastard at one time triggered her as we walked by once. And that's the kind of power that is, uh, because it's his. So if he's not the goddamn devil, and it doesn't matter if he is, um, then he sure is an aspiring devil, that's for sure. But one of the things that she did, and this was entertaining. I mean, you got to understand, there were things that she was saying and doing that had me just almost getting ready to roll in the floor, laughing. Just highly entertaining stuff. But see, the thing is she does have an honest streak in her, and she has a streak of love in her. She prays to Jesus. So, and she doesn't realize how much of an enemy that anger is, how much it is actually the enemy. And, she went through life and got scarred early on. And I'm sure that was due probably to Darth Vader and his evil shit designs. But of course, he'll pay for that too, The, but what I'm talking about is, she said at one point, "You're just like your father." Now, I could have, been complimentary to him and been a real smart ass if I was wanting to, like, here's some gasoline for your fire, bitch. But I could have said, "You mean suave, sophisticated, perhaps, a fantastic use of the English language, very intelligent." And what are you getting that exact? But, she was trying to tell me that she was trying to push buttons and make me go, "How dare you? How dare you accuse me of being like my father?" And I said, "Well, no, I'm not, of course." I mean, the thing of it is did I pick up a few traits along the way from that guy? Yeah, of course. But then those things are only of real value for a certain portion of your life. And then after, another couple decades goes by, then that's not really a thing, because you become your own person. Back when I was a kid, of course I adopted some of the things I saw. But here's the kicker. And she says, "No, you are exactly like him, except he's got a big devil in him and you don't." And I said, "Oh, you're just trying to be sweet to me now." And I said, "Oh, please, here, shake my hand. That's just a sweet compliment." She's like, "No, no," because she wanted to keep on with her anger. She wanted to hold on to that. And, but I thanked her for it. And I prayed for her a couple of times. And I prayed for her again as we were arriving at the place where she was going to go get her imaging done. And of course, I just, to me, it was like, it was amazing. It really was amazing. But it was, as far as I could tell, that spirit really, 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 really was willing to sacrifice her as much as anything to try and to get me to light up. Now, why they're trying to get me to light up and become angry, I don't know. Because, so what if I did? What if I did? What about it? It doesn't mean anything. It's not as though the people of the light can't become quite perturbed. And it doesn't mean the elders of the gentle race aren't always gentle. But what should be taken is whenever you're of the darkness and you're a lowly thing that's full of hate in your heart, and just simply all your entire existence revolves around beating someone else as like in a rivalry, then that means you've got a lot to do, to work out. And you're certainly in no place to judge me, of all people. But I'm real happy that, the trip went really well, except for the extreme, hatefulness on the way down there. But on the way back, it was a lot more calm, and because they were worn down by then. You can only do so much of that before it will take it out of you. The wind will leave your cells, absolutely. And I told her, though, I said, while we were doing this, I said, I'm not going to count this against you. And I tried to be, conciliatory, because here's the thing. I don't hate that woman, not a bit. I used to like her very, very much. And just because the devil can get in her and ruin the day or something doesn't mean that she's necessarily on her way to hell, I hope. Um, but I told her, I said, I understand, you've got these problems and those and blah, blah, blah. And I said, again, that's why I'm not holding any of this against you. She's sick. I'm not trying to make excuses for it. Nobody has a right to act like that. And he was like, well, here's the epitome of the modern woman, quote unquote, as they say. And we all know what that means. But I was just real happy that it didn't mean anything, and that there were others out there with me today. And I noticed a couple of them, and particularly one lady I went past, and she was smiling because she was listening, and she could hear my commentary after the drop off and that kind of thing. And it was it was a strange day, but I am going to rest. My attitude is good, my mood is good, my physical strength is improving, and I should be doing pretty good here in the next few days. My appetite is getting way off, but I'm going to go ahead and eat for a couple days in the hopes that it helps with this strengthening of the body, and then we'll start tapering off. I have my strategy, and it works really, really well for me. And a lot of it might be just completely, totally psychological, but after that, it won't be long before I'm down to the bird size servings, and which after that, then you get into a place where you're eating for psychology, to say, well, I was satisfied and had this or something. And once you do that in dollops, for a couple of days, then it's real easy to go ahead and jump over to no food, because it's easy to remind yourself that I don't need it, and I feel joy and happiness and all this beauty, being surrounded by all this day here in my daylight. And so anyway, tonight I found a movie, so I'm going to be enjoying once again the genius of Mel Brooks. One of his most famous films, Blazing Saddles. And it is a fantastic film, if nothing else, for the fact that, I found it pretty darn funny in the day, but nowadays, I find it absolutely hilarious. And because it's so politically incorrect, it's beautiful beyond anything you could imagine. And I highly advise you watching it if you've never seen it before. It'll show you that while there was racial divide, let's say, and issues still back in the day, and then of course they're going back in time to depict stuff too, there was an awful lot of friendliness and hilarity. A lot of laughter being shared by the races together about just that damn thing. Because all of us that know that most of the racial tension is created by, you could probably guess, don't you know? That's right. And I'm really not sure what the definition of racism is anymore. I remember I said something about how racism is just wrong, and I'm going to go back to my book and just scratch that out and say, since I don't know what the real true definition of racism is at this point, given all that has occurred, I just will simply go back to what I really meant to say, which was to hate any other race is wrong. And that is just about as perfect as it gets, because to hate is wrong, okay? You don't want to indulge it. You don't want it in you. And but to hate a race or any group of people probably is just absolutely wrong, because it doesn't solve anything. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help them. I every time I turn around and I think of this racism thing that some of them talk about, that's going on. Oh, this is going to happen. That's going to happen. And I'm thinking, well, the problem I've got with racism, especially regarding black folks. And again, I'm not sure what the definition is, because I don't hate anybody, but there's just so many of them I like so very much. It's like how can you condemn an entire race? I'm unable to do it, and especially the American Negro, because that's a whole different kind of person than what's left back there in Africa. See, the devil pulled a little trick by having them all hauled over here and having their parents go through all that hell and everything. But at the same time, um, and of course, it was to eventually introduce the racial issue problem. But at the same time, he's lost tons and tons of those Negroes, that he kind of looks at like they're his very own. He really does not like it whenever anyone who's of the African heritage gets away. He doesn't. Not one little teeny tiny bit. So, yeah, and of course, I digress here, don't I? But I saw several headlines today. I saw a couple few videos, and there's a couple I was trying to watch, and I think they were trying to, be so presumptuous as to tell me what I'm supposed to be doing here in the world. Whatever world this is, I know this isn't the world that is going to continue, because, like I say, anything that's been built from me and my energies should get up. They should do something about that. Be like, take all that Tommy stuff out of there and replace it real quick with this other stuff, and send it back to me so it doesn't all get tore down and erased and disintegrated. Hold on. Okay, well, my timers are going off, and it's almost showtime because I'm going to start the movie here in a few minutes. So I'm going to let this go for right now and just say again, yes, let's please keep going up like we're doing. And I've been feeling some of what they've been talking about today, and or rather last for a long time. And it feels almost as though I'm getting my wheels back under me again. And they used to be some pretty big ones, So I'm real glad about that thought. And, whenever I went to go pick her up from the store, she had done a little grocery shopping. Someone, of course, had been set up there waiting for me because they wanted to see what we were, I guess. And they were in a black car, but they didn't even have to wait until I got out of the car. They could already see, and by the time I got out of the car, they were pissily in a huff driving off. So I guess all that was is the evil, the devil realizing that, in fact, our Father in heaven is not going to allow any more of this chicanery, these shenanigans on their part. Guys, God bless. Take care. I'll talk to you real soon.